Amikan laga society de ek par saile bacha khan especially lower classes khan tai khan kunba du likhibole tiktari pa nolebi pronunciation khan nolebi class de alak students khan lode catch up kurle tiktari pa amikan itu situations kan dikhi thake libe amikan ek par saile du ituan la concern lugina tangi mold kurole lapal tangi itu situation du lugina otherwise luija amikan dikhi pai thake enaka homoi de yete Livingstone Foundation International Day Learning Disabilities laga opor luigina ekta consultative workshop luishe aro itu workshop de yete specialist kan aigina learning disabilities opor de luigina takhan kota han share kurishe Livingstone Foundation International laga chairman Dr. Andrew Ahotora encourage kora homoi tai kuishe ki schools kan nolibi institutions kan takhan bishibak to higher class especially classes 9 10 itwange bishi focus kure holibi tai kuishe ki it's high time that the schools and institutions takhan bra bacha kan lower classes khange grassroots level bra hi tangi mold kurigina age du lui jawle laga ekta encourage kurishe ami khan epar sale person with disabilities kan tai khan hi more intelligent thake hulibi moige de kwa nishna ami khan tahla concern luigina iman seriously no like ta ase ibi ajila ka workshop te tai khan bra itu disabilities kan opore kini mide ka hoy nolibi ta khan ge kin ka ki lui jago lage ta khan phal bra itu workshop ekta luigina ase ibi ami khan itu workshop opore luigina title price sai lobo.
There's a saying by saying I need help is the most courageous thing one can do and say for themselves. And on that note, I would like to welcome, on behalf of the State Commissioner for the Persons with Disability, from Nagaland, Ashe Kiba Program Coordinator. But before that, I would like to have the welcome note from the very own person, Ms. Lovidoli Awomi, Lapia Center for Mental Well-Being, to do the gracing of sharing why we're doing what we're doing today.
Hello, good morning, everyone. Respected distinguished guests, participants from different NGOs, churches, and schools, thank you so much for being here this morning. I would like to extend my special gratitude and welcome our special guest today, a resource person. A very special welcome to Dr. Simpson. He is one of the great resource person who is very specialized in learning disabilities. When I called a few of my the program organizer to share about these programs, that what we are going to happen today, they asked me like who is going to be a resource person, and when I mentioned Dr. Simpson, then everybody was so inspired and encouraged. Oh, he's the right person, like that. Nah? So today we are very special that he's here in our midst. Thank you so much, sir, for being here. Kindly show your handsome face to all the participants once more. Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much, sir. God bless you. Dr. Reverend Father Joe Maridas, can you stand up on your feet once, sir? Yes, thank you so much. He is the director of Shalom Rehabilitation Center. I think many of the person are aware, know him, because he has been a resource person in many mental health programs. He's been a very great blessing to, especially to Lapia Center, because whenever we organize any kind of programs based on mental health, he's been there, and he has been a very wonderful resource person to many of the participants. And today also, I'm very much sure many will get a lot of insight from him. I called him even once in Napoto district to be with us for the community outreach program, and he never hesitated even to reach to the remote districts to be with us. And we are always blessed to be a part of Dr. Joe, who is always being kind enough to help us. Yes, every electricians or every technicians, we need someone who is very specialized in particular areas. Yes or no? I think even a mental health professional in the field of mental health professional, so there are so many diagnoses, there are so many things that we need to understand. More than we have 200 disorders, mental health, when we see in ICD-10 and DSM. So like, learning disabilities is something not very new to mental health professionals, but I think it is very, it might be a new to many participants here also. And today we have a very a very wonderful resource person, Madam Kopele. Can you please kindly stand up and introduce her? Yes. He's a special educator, and today she's going to share what the role of a special educator, and I'm very much sure many will get inspired through him or through her. Office of the State Commissioners, Ma'am Daitono is not here, but I really wanted to thank her also because of her I could able to organize and initiate this together along with the concerned department, and also I was actually not in a position to organize this program honestly, but she was there to suggest me and encourage me to, maybe we can do something lovely, nah? In this way I could able to, you know, plan this program. And when I came down and shared with Dr. Andrew and his beloved wife, Madam Annie, they were being so kind and very generous, and they really trusted me for what I do. Though we don't know in person, I have heard from many persons that, oh, Dr. Andrew and all, they do lots of community services. When you collaborate with them, I think they will be the right person to talk, you know, to organize these programs together. And like I've heard, when I met him, like he's been very open, both like husband, like wife, you know, very open to do this kind of service. And I'm very blessed, you know, to collaborate with such wonderful, inspiring role model who is doing a very good, not just in Dimapur, but also Livingstone has been doing a very well from a decades back. And I'm very blessed, and thank you so much, sir, for, you know, organizing these programs together with us. Madam Ashe, can you kindly stand up in your feet? Yeah. So from Office of the State Commissioner Persons of Disabilities, she will be talking on behalf of the State Commissioner Office. She's a GS, and she's been a very wonderful person communicating between the department and an NGO like us. And even this program also, because of her, like we could able to communicate properly and plan these programs together. Thank you so much, ma'am. I'm very much sure many will get inspired through your message today. Yes, I really wanted to thank especially Ma'am Ilito Tolho and Sir Achiba, Miss Imlo, all those who are there in the programs. Though I could not able to mention in details, your time, your presence here has been a very blessing to us. And you know, as she prayed for this program, I think all of us got a goosebumps also. We got chilled, and we are so blessed we can feel the Holy Spirit in this program because of our prayers. Thank you so much, ma'am, and thank you so much all for being here today with us. And also, I really wanted to welcome Mityas also. Every time, whenever we plan these programs, never hesitate to come up, but always been there. And you know, not just the participants in the programs, but also because of the media, we could be able to give lots of impact in the society whenever we organize any kinds of related to mental health programs and disabilities. Not forgetting Miss Gugu, thank you so much. I really wanted to thank her because today's program is going to be a very special and very interesting because of her beautiful melodious voice. And you, as you can see from the opening itself, she is not just a chairperson today, but we have not mentioned in the program, but she's a social activist and also a RG, Radio Kings FM, yes. And her voice is wonderful. I think those who usually hear Radio FM will know more about her. Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you so much for being here. Yes, and you're very, very welcome. If I missed anyone in the programs, I think from SCRT, very sorry for SCRT. Sir Daniel could not be able to hear today, but concerned department, like I mentioned, State Commissioner for Persons with Disabilities is here, so maybe next time we can collaborate more and do. Since today is the starting, and why we are doing this program is learning disabilities. Every every year on 3rd week of June is a Learning Disabilities Week. So this year the theme is Do You See Me? As we can see in the programs and all. So many students, especially in India, 13 to 14% students are suffering with the learning disabilities. The resource persons will share everything what is learning disabilities is all about. But like Albert Einstein said, if you judge a fish to climb a tree, the fish will believe its whole life that it's a stupid. Yes or no? We all are special, we all are different, but most of the time, like Albert Einstein has mentioned, and many scientists, even like Albert Einstein and all, they have learning disabilities related problems. But because of her mom, the positive words through her mom, she could able to get inspired, and she became a very great scientist. And I'm very much sure there are many children who have learning disabilities problems in the school, in the churches, in the family, and struggling, and they don't know. Maybe they think that they are nobody in this world, they don't have hope. But when we make this kind of program, I think we can make a lot and huge difference, not just in the school setting, not just in the churches, but also in many families those who are suffering because of this mental health, undiagnosed mental health issues. Today program, why we are doing is to spread awareness, to educate, and also to learn, to understand more what is learning disabilities is all about. So we have a discussion hour also, the chairperson will mention, but discussion hour also, I really request every participants to really if you have any doubts, you can just question, and we'll have a very good discussion hour like we had a program in women's mental health programs last time. And if I've missed any NGOs, those are coming from a very far, I'm very sorry, could not able to mention your names, but you are really welcome, and thank you so much, and may God bless you all. Thank you.
The welcome address definitely included Thanksgiving note as well. So having said that, I think this is a great opportunity, as Lovitoli has mentioned, especially for our young friends who are in the room. For many of us, we have not had the opportunity to have such awareness programs during our times. And I think it's a great blessing that these awareness programs are happening time and again. And that is the only way to actually register in our mind what discussions are happening and why these conversations are important. And so may I welcome our friend Ashe on behalf of the State Commissioner for Persons with Disability to come and share a note with us. And yes, she's the one who included me in the disability.
First of all, I give all glory to God for blessing me this morning. Thank you so much, Bubu, for the beautiful introduction. Thank you, though I don't deserve it. But partially, I will say I deserve it. Thank you. Because I have accepted myself the way I am. For 25 years, I've been hiding behind my punchu, hiding away my hands from the world and also from myself. Because I feel shy to even look at myself in front of the mirror. But today, every single day, every single second, I admire myself, accepting that God has chosen me. It is said in the Bible, many were called but few were chosen, and I am among those chosen ones. That's what I believe and I accept it. So thank you so much for this moment. A very warm greetings to all present here. Madam, she could have been here today, but because of her prior engagement, she couldn't be here. So I will be reading short message on her behalf that she has conveyed. And after that, I will also share 1-2 lines on my behalf. A special acknowledgement to our chairperson of the day, Ms. Betano Gugu Haralu. She's a friend of mine, and she's one individual whom I can always be myself when I'm in front of her. I can always, show my another side to the world when I am her. Thank you so much, Gugu, once again. I also want to extend my respect to Reverend Dr. Father Joe and Sir Ahodo, Dr. Ahodo Andrew, Madam Kopale, Mr. N. Achiba, and Dr. Simpson, I extend my gratitude and my respect to you all. Our State Commissioner for Persons with Disability, Madam Detno Nakro, couldn't be here today because of a pre-scheduled commitment in Kohima. But she has asked me to convey her greetings and thank everyone present for this for your participation in this important workshop. Learning disability affects millions of people worldwide, presenting unique challenges in education, employment, and daily life. In India, the magnitude of the problem as well as the prevalence having not been fully understood. The prevalence in the country varies from 6% to 16.9% and even more across various studies. Here in Nagaland, as in many other areas, we have no data available on learning disability. However, as per observation made by the doctors, the incidence of specific learning disability in children is high and increasing in our state as well. But despite of the prevalence, many misconceptions and a lack of awareness persist, often leading to the inadequate support and missed opportunity for those affected. The Office of the State Commissioner for Persons with Disability is very happy to be partnering with the Libya Center of Mental Wellbeing, Livingstone Foundation Society, and Greece Women Welfare Association in organizing this workshop. This workshop is an opportunity for us to learn from experts, share experience, and discuss strategies to support and empower those affected by learning disabilities. The hope is that by collaborating and sharing our knowledge, we can create more inclusive environment in education, workplace, and communities. That was a message sent by our commissioner. Now I would love to share a little bit about my lines on this workshop. It is said, nothing for us without us. That is, nothing for persons with disability without disability. As we gathered for this workshop on learning disabilities under the theme, Can You See Me? Let's take a moment to introspect behind every person grappling with the learning disabilities lies a story intact with the trials and triumphs. The questions, can you see me, extend beyond mere visibility. It calls for empathy, understanding, and acknowledgement of the obstacles encountered by those with learning disabilities. It urges us to embrace the diverse fabric of our community and look beyond surface. In the world where the needs of the individual with learning disability can be overlooked or misunderstood, it's crucial that we not only see, but truly recognize and embrace their presence. Each individual, irrespective of their challenges, carries within them a treasure, trove, and potential and promises. I'm confident with this workshop will serve a guiding light, illuminating the vast potential within each one of us. Together, let's establish a sturdy foundation for a platform where individuals with learning disability can readily access to quality education like anybody else, and they rightfully deserve. Because by dismantling the barriers and dispelling stereotypes, let this gathering be more than just a forum of discussion. Let it be a catalyst for meaningful change. Let us cultivate an environment where inclusivity thrives, where every voice is heard, every perspective is valued, and every individual is respected. May this workshop ignite actionable change and work towards a future where diversity is celebrated and every learner can flourish. Together, let's embark on a journey filled with empathy and compassion, ensuring that no one is left or no one is marginalized. I believe in our collaborative efforts, we will make the world a better place for the learning disabilities. To end with, I would love to say, as someone with physically locomotor disabilities in me, who has faced the hurdles of living, I stand before you all today not as a victim, but as a testament to the power of resilience and determination. Though my education journey has been marked by unique challenges, each one overcoming with unwavering perseverance, as there was no such workshop and awareness on disability in my time. I grew up with zero awareness on disability, not knowing my rights and not knowing what to say or express my challenges, express my difficulties in my education career. That's how I grew up with numbers and in fact countless punishment that I have gone through in my education career. But I'm looking forward. We as a persons with disability, which are visible to everybody, we have faced those challenges. Now let's think about learning disabilities, which are invisible. We think they are not disabled, but they are going a lot more than us with a physical disability, which is visible. So let's work together. Let's work together and make a world better place for the learning disabilities. Thank you all.
I never knew that we are going to talk on all formal lines. I have prepared slides on informal lines. I just would like to know and tell you what is disability, learning disability all about, and how we need to care for ourselves, and also how we need to also focus ourselves into the society. And I also would like to ask you apology for people who do not know Nagamis, because I will be speaking something in Nagamis too, because I like to make my message go across to the common people rather than learned people, because it's a learning disability. That is why those who have learned, they have no disability. Those who have not learned have disabilities. So I would like to talk to you on that. The mic is on. In our church, usually we have a microphone and we begin with, in the name of the Father, Son and the Holy Spirit. And after that, the Father will say, the Lord be with you. Then he found there was something wrong with the mic. Then they said, he told the mic man said, there is something wrong with the mic. Then the people replied, and also with you. So maybe you sing. So the problem is not only with the mic, but also with me. But beyond all that, friends, I'm very happy that Louis Tuli had invited me for this program here. We are working together for a long time. I'm in Nagaland for the last 35 years in Nagaland. I grew up and then I did all my education and I'm here. And I'm very happy for this opportunity to come. And Livingston is my home. So, so I'm always there for them and there with them. There was a boy studying class 11. He was studying science. The physics teacher came and then he was trying to teach us something on electricity. The boy could never pronounce electricity. He was always saying electricity, electricity, electricity. And the teacher was very upset. And he tried to teach him, but he could not. So he told, tomorrow when you come, please bring your father. So the father was called and then he came. And the father came and then he was asking the father, sir, you called me? Yes. You see, your son can never pronounce electricity. All the time he is only speaking about electricity, electricity, electricity. Sir, my son has no capacity. My son has no capacity, So, this is not a problem of that boy. It's a family problem. But how can you say that it's a learning disability? So the whole issue of learning disability is we are not trying to understand what is learning disability is all about. And most of the time, when I go for these programs on awareness on different things, we come across people trying to associate themselves. There was a big conference on leprosy. You know what is leprosy? Leprosy is a skin disease and which has got no sensation and so on. So the resource person came and he talked so much about leprosy and then the people were there so much taken up. Like this morning, Labitali said, when ma'am was praying, we were all having goosebumps, so we felt that we are also having some disability and healed. But this is what also speakers can do, They can take your emotions to the height and leave you there. Don't know what to do. So these persons were there and then after the half of the conference there was a coffee break. So they went around, they were sitting at the table and then they were discussing about leprosy. Then one fellow was scratching his leg. Then he found no sensation on his leg. Then he said, my God, I scratched my leg and I found no sensation. I think I am having leprosy. Then his friend told him, the leg you scratched is mine, not yours. We are only trying to scratch others' legs. We are not trying to understand. We are not trying to do what exactly we need to know about. So I just want to bring to you that all of us in life, in some way or the other, we have got some abilities and disabilities. And today specifically we are going to talk about learning disabilities. So when there is learning disabilities, there is only a specific aspect, little to that. But I will just talk to you what is disability and how we have to go through the disabilities and what we can do to support children with the disabilities. And after me, the experts are coming and they will definitely talk to you more on it. It's just kind of an opening, just an opening to that. And I will drive on 4 to 5 points which are very, very important, essential for us to understand learning disabilities. Why? Because Amikan to itia ki ahikina hunikina jaya se Amikan na janikina jaishikila eku koribole na baito. First we need to understand na ki ase kedeka ase manukan to kobo ete ase kobo to enukan na baito. You should know what it is and how to handle it. And when things happen to us, we are able to also to be with them. And that's the reason for this consultative workshop. We call the church personnel, the leaders from the church, from the various departments, from the heads of institution, and also the students who are here, who are victimized, maybe, as she was telling. There were what is called innumerable times where she was victimized. Nobody could understand what she was going through. Maybe there are many of us, we feel that nobody has understood. Usually in my college, I was working as a professor in St. Joseph's College, Jakama for 6 years, and they always call me, this father is normally abnormal. So many times people can call us, can brand us for what we are. We don't know, they don't understand us. So that's why I asked those people at the back, can you see? Yes, they could see. Can you hear? Yeah. Once I went for a conference, then I asked the people at the back side, can you hear me? They said they can't hear. Then those who were sitting in front, they went to the back side because they don't want to hear. So, it has something to do with all what we are thinking about. It is here, it is to see, it is to think, it is also the process. Difficulty in learning, specifically in speaking, writing, listening, reading, and mathematics. So that is what we call it learning disability. Some of us, we don't need to worry about it because in Nagaland, even if you get 0 mark in mathematics, you are qualified. So that is not disability, okay? So let us be very frank. So that part of is cut off. So only the other things we have to talk about. The problem is not primarily due to other causes such as visual or hearing impairments, motor impairments, mental retardation, emotional disturbance, or economic, environmental, and cultural disadvantages. So this is what we need to talk about, more about it. And as ma'am said, much more than lack of awareness, I put it the other way, it is ignorance.
Yes.
Ignorance and not wanting to know. That's all. This is not it to me. Most of the times, many cases in our society in Nagaland, we are not grown, we are not accepted. It is because the second point, great denial. We are in denial, there is ignorance, and because of these two, we are not able to identify and understand what exactly is happening to us, not to us, to our children. And we are very happy in discussing about it because we are normal and there are children who are not able to understand. So today I am speaking for them. So this is generally what is learning disability is all about. So according to the Learning Disability Association of America, the learning disability is a neurological condition that interferes with an individual's ability to store, process, or produce information. Exactly. I am talking to you. Some of you are taking down notes. Some of you are keeping it in your mind. Some of you are reflecting upon the jokes that I have cracked. All this shows what? It's a process. Probably when you go to some other place, you also will crack the same joke again. To bring back. Why? Because it has something to, the message being carried on. So what exactly learning is all about? Learning is only three. Attention, retention, and the recall. We pay attention, we learn something, we retain it in our mind and memory, and we recall it, that's all. If I am cracking all these jokes without any notes, it is not because I have kept it. I am recalling it. I am learning it. I am retaining it in my mind, in my memory. I am bringing it forth to you, and that I am sharing it with you. So when I am sharing it with you, it becomes very nice for you. Otherwise, we all will be sleeping, and after some time they will give you a cup of coffee. Okay, fine, thank you, finish. We don't understand. So my friends, this is what we need to do. Are you able to pay attention? Are you able to retain what has been taught? And are you also able to recall? And that's what we do in examinations. We do it, we bring it out in the papers, the answers, what we have learned. So learning disability is that affects the ability to listen, to think, to speak, to read, to write, spell or mathematical calculations. So basically this is what we talk about learning disabilities. And does not include learning problems resulted from visual, hearing or motor disabilities or intellectual disability, emotional disturbance, environmental, cultural or economic disadvantages. For example, a person may have a problem with vision, cannot see properly. If he or she is sitting at the back, it's not good. Bring them in front. If a teacher is specially educated or she knows what is the problem, she can bring them, come and sit in front. Maybe there are children who are sitting at the back side. They are afraid of telling the teacher, Miss, I can't see, or she is feeling shy and she is not wanting to volunteer. What she will do? She will all the time look at her neighbor and write. The neighbor herself is writing wrongly and she will copy the wrong things. And that's what they say, that once in one of the centers in Nagaland, usually the metric exams, they copy a lot. Nowadays it's been stopped. Yeah, a lot of copying was going on. So these boys, they don't learn. And they will come, they will bring the notes last week. And it is written, this answer continued in page number 48. So that also they are writing down. Answer is continued in page number 48. So where are we going? So we really need to understand what's happening to us. Maybe a person who can't hear, having problem with auditory problem, then please make sure that that person has got special attention given. They are not learning disability. Okay? They are visual, auditory, they are physical disabilities where ma'am said about psychomotor coordination, and they do not include us in learning disabilities. Learning disabilities specially include us in not able to understand, speak, think what people normally do. That's all. So not a sign of poor intelligence or laziness. Neurological disorder that causes their brains to process and interpret information differently. So it has something to do with the neurological disorder. So it is beyond our capacity to learn and understand. So as I said, I just want to sum up. Learning disabilities has got language processing, phonological processing, visual spatial processing, perceptual and motor integration, processing speed, memory and attention, executive functioning. So this is where we need to identify what it is. So this will connect us to where we want to know what is more about learning disabilities. These are the main types of learning disabilities. These are some of the types. Attention deficit hyperactive disorder. Many of the children today they are going through. There is also one person who has come with intelligent theory, Howard Gardner. He talks about multiple intelligence. And he says, in all walks of life, in one way or the other, we can include them in one intelligence or the other. So we cannot say that there is a disability of learning. Always there is an ability to learn. And what is important to identify what is that person's ability and bring him for that. And making him to understand in that way that that person can produce his or her best. And that is what we have to talk about. So we have got also dyslexia, dyscalculia, dysgraphia, auditory and visual disorders, and then we have got physical motor coordination, that's dyspraxia. So this is what we do. So persons with some of the learning disabilities, they display some of these characters like avoidance of activities that involve reading and writing. These days, the LKG is just begun in the month of January, February. My friend admitted his child in class LKG. For 1 week, he went to school very nicely. Next week, Monday morning, he got up and he told his mother, then asked what happened, sick, because he doesn't want to go to school. Already they are producing, they are saying something is wrong. They give lot of excuses from going to school. They don't want to attend, they don't want to go to school, they have a lot of things to say. Then they also develop a lot of low self-esteem. They develop a lot of that I am not good, I don't know, I am not like the other kid is able to write. Then the father wanted to know, why is your name really Nono Johnny? Yes, father. How? When I go home, if I take the remote control, my father will say Nono Johnny. If I go to the kitchen and if I take something, my mother says Nono Johnny. And if I ask my sister to use her mobile phone, she says Nono Johnny. So I thought my name is Nono Johnny. Have you ever said yes to anything? All the time our answers are negative. Don't go, don't do this, don't do this. Every time only no, no, no. And we don't understand what these children need. Why can't we give some time for these children? So these children, that is where they lack confidence. So they don't know. Maybe they take up something and they drop it, then you never tell him, if you touch again, I'll break your hand. He's afraid already. He doesn't want to take anything. He doesn't want to take any initiative. And when this child is growing up into adolescent, he will never take any initiative. Then you will be looking for all the psychologists available in Nagaland. Yeah? Why do we do that? Our children need confidence. Our children need encouragement. Our children need support. And our children, not others' children. This is like that boy who got very less mark in class 10 and his father was scolding. And the neighboring boy, he got plenty of marks. So then he told his son, you see, this fellow, he's very poor. His son has secured so high marks. And I paid everything. I made tuition for you. I gave special time for you. You can't even score more marks than that boy. What is the difference? He said, my father and his father is different. We have differences. We are trying to put it on our children. Every children is unique. Every children is different. And every children is special. And we need to identify and make them understand. And we also know people who have got certain learning disabilities or people who will have listening, social skills, speaking, attention, reading, memory. As I mentioned to you earlier, some of these things will be there. We need to identify. I'm not denying the fact that there is no learning disability. There is. There exists in our society. And as usual, I have a driver. The driver has only 2 answers for any question. His name is Peter. Peter, kalito tate ekta motor to biya hoishena? He will say, ki jane. Apne hossa na jane. So his name is Peter, ki jane, na jane. In Nagaland, you ask any data, anything, ki jane, na jane. No data available, nobody is interested, nobody is doing. I'm so sorry to tell you. This is a fact of life. What is wrong with us in telling that these are the children, this is the percentage of children going to learning disabilities, this is our problem. We need to address this issue. Without addressing this issue, the next generation will have no brain at all. Where are we going? So friends, this is time that we become aware of our own weaknesses, our failures, identify what our children need and help them to grow better. Learn them, enable them. That is our importance, no? Otherwise, why this conference? I'm so sorry about it. But this is what learning disability is all about. And I'm just sharing it with you, my brothers and sisters. So this, as I said, dysgraphia, dyslexia, dyscalculia, dyspraxia. There is one American's movie, no? A nice movie. Yes, where they are talking about learning disabilities. A Chinese word is written asking the father to read. He does not know how to read because it is Chinese. So why? Why do we understand that this is a problem? It's not a problem. It is a help that we can help our own people. Now what causes learning disabilities? The first cause is hereditary, father and mother. If there are any learning disabilities, from the parents, it can come. That is why when I talk to young people, I ask them how many chromosomes we have. 46 chromosomes are there, 23 of the father and 23 of the mother. And most of us, our physical features, they come from our parents or from our grandparents. That is genes. So I tell my young boys and girls, if you don't look like your father or mother, please go home, ask your mother where she went for a picnic, she will tell you. Don't call God. The first learning disability is a hereditary.
Right.
It can have certain genetical issues. So we have to accept that. The second learning disability, problems during pregnancy and birth.
Right.
Many women do not know that they will get pregnant when they have sex. They don't know when they will conceive. After, when the period is missing, then only they will say, I am carrying. And earlier in our Naga society, the only recreation our parents had, there was procreation. There is no other recreation was there. And a lot of children were there, they don't even know. And how many of our young women today know anything about pregnancy or learning to bring about children? There are a lot of unwed mothers, unofficial abortions in Nagaland, and these are all facts that we need to accept. They are facts. So, here problems during pregnancy and childbirth. I also would like to tell you that from the moment the fetus comes to life, the fetus learns to understand the mother very clearly. Whatever the mother goes through, maybe fear, maybe anxiety, maybe she is going through kind of rejection, she is also going through burdens of daily life, financial issues, all this will affect the child. The child does not know what the mother is going through. And there are also, most of the 5 children are called tested babies. Now, first, any trust korishe, taipara amma pariba paribona nai, to amma korishe, sadi korishe. So that is our first children, or mostly the first born children. They are all coming before marriage. And they are grown up where? In grandparents' house. In Nagaland, I define few children. Some children are called hornbill children, after hornbill. Some children are called New Year and Christmas children. Because during Christmas, Dujunde ekta sholte birabo, tanda bi tanda ase, garam korishe, pacham paise korishe. Finish. Yeah, there are some children, sorry brother, Tuludi children are coming, okay? See, you have no idea how children are born. How these young men, young women. I went, one girl studying in my school, in the higher secondary school, Loyola school at Kifrey. I was a principal there. And after 6 months of her higher secondary, she went somewhere in Shillong and studied. She came back. December she came back. Then she said she will not go back for studies. I asked her what happened. Father, I went there now. I found one boy. He gave me a gift. I brought him. It is in my stomach now. Lot of gift we bring from outside. And some people are very happy if they bring international gift. You think it's a prestige get married to some international people. You know, I'm so sorry. It is only just a joke. But this is what pregnancy during things can bring disability. Then incidents after birth, soon after childbirth. You do not know how many people are qualified to handle delivery. Especially children delivered at home, children delivered even in the hospitals. There was one man who went to the hospital and told the doctor, Doctor, you know, this side is paining and here also it's paining. Then the doctor tested everything and he told the man, I know your sickness. What is my sickness? Your sickness is from the subject that I failed during my MBBS. Then how we will treat the people? Today, how many of our healthcare professionals are qualified? How many of them can handle situations? And how many of our children are being thrown away in wash basins? So we have to identify and understand, my dear friends, this learning disability is not our problem. It is a problem that already begins before our birth. I had one boy, his name is Tongriba. He has got clip lip, a lip which is broken, cannot be speaking nicely. All were fooling. And then he was coming to me and asked me, Father, I feel very shy. I said, don't worry. If anybody is fooling you, you say, it is not your problem, it's a manufacturing problem. Learning disability is a manufacturing defect. So don't worry, my dear children, if you have got any disability in one way or the other, we are able to handle it. We can do that. When I was studying in St. Joseph's College, Jakama, many people call me Blackie. In the beginning, I was feeling very shy and I don't want to talk to many people. Then one day my friend told me, don't worry, if they tell you, you say, that's okay, fine. So one day they were fooling me. I said, you call me Blackie, I like this name because my mother also used to call me Blackie. So fine. With that they stopped fooling me. So we need to learn to tell others so that they don't try to bully us. Otherwise we are all the time being bullied and then we feel shy, we don't want to come out and we don't develop ourselves and at the end of the day we don't become successful. So learning disabilities should help us. So what is special learning disability? Doctor will speak at length. I am just giving you a small slide. Slow learners, that is intelligent quotient 71 to 84. Then we have got mental retardation. We have got 3 types, mild, moderate and severe. So these are all things to understand. Then visually handicapped, hearing handicap, physical handicap, language barrier, emotional problems or chronic medical problems, then psychiatric disorders. For example, I read a lot of, I read Angami, the Tenidiye in my church and I go and pronounce certain words are not correct. But people do accept me because I am not an Angami. But at the same time, I am learning to read it for them and they cannot call it a learning disability. When we read certain words, certain things which are not of ours, our own language, we will find it very difficult. For example, the people coming from Mon, they have no R. Instead of R, they only use L. Molambara, Molambara. They will never say Morambara. Whereas the Lothas, they have got R. It is very, very strong. One day I was in Seminyu. One father was given farewell. Moi apni kan nimite paikna koribo, or apni kan moi nimite paikna koribi. The father was trying to tell, please pray for me, I will pray for you. Na, moi apni kan nimite prarthana koribo, apni kan moi nimite prarthana koribi. So we cannot call it a learning disability. It's very different. So we have to understand where they come from. I had an English professor here at the government college, Dimapur. He will always come and say, Darwaja King. You know Darwaja King? There was a king. But he cannot say was. All the time he will say watch, watch, watch. There are some people who are coming from some Bihar and other northern India. They cannot pronounce the word yes. And even also the Rombais, they cannot say yes. For everything they will use different syllables. So pronunciation matters a lot. Even now what I am speaking, some of us may not be understanding. Why? Because my English may not be the correct English. But whatever we have learned, we are trying to communicate. So this is not disability. It is not a learning disability. We don't need to bring it out. So this is special learning disability that we are talking about. And these are the ones. Group of developmental disorders, significant, unexpected, specific and persistent difficulties in the acquisition and use of reading, writing and mathematical. So this is basically brings learning disabilities. So this is what we need to identify, and ma'am will talk more about it because she is qualified. I am only a public preacher, okay? I am only the what is called the churchman who will go to the Bible and say, so manu kavante javade, all are very happy. So this is what I am trying to tell you. So despite conventional instruction, normal intelligence, proper motivation and adequate social cultural opportunity, what is important for us? We need to understand, go and bring awareness, tell people this is normal, this happens, it is possible, we can do something and we can help our children so that our children are also able to find themselves in the society. They are able to find themselves fit into somewhere or the other. Today, for all those people who are differently able, they are given job opportunities. And there are lot of people are looking for this disability card. Even if they are not disabled also, they are looking for the card because they will get employment. It is an employment opportunity. So we need to identify, dear friends, how our children are. So there are 7 major perspectives of modern psychology. They are talking about psychodynamic, behavioral, cognitive, biological, cross-cultural, evolutionary and humanistic. And every theory speaks differently. And I am not going to talk about all these theories, but I am just telling how human psychology looks at learning disability. So this is what I am talking. I will give you a few more slides. What we can do. 1. Remedial teaching. They will also talk to you about how teaching or what we can do to the children. Confronting the ignorance surrounding learning disabilities. As I said, ignorance is very high, denial is very high. We need to break these two, and when we break these two, our children can be given some consideration to individual characteristics. Suppose your schools, your classrooms are having more than 50 children, we have no time to look at all the children. We just come, we deliver notes, we give them something and we go away. Whether do it, they understand or they're not understanding. That is why today the special schools are there. Now Government of India is going to take away all that because the new education policy is talking about inclusive education. There are no more special schools. So the individual inclusive schools will have to be. In one way I like it, in another way I am not for it. Why? Because I know for a child in Kifre, the child was studying in class 3, she had a visual poor problem, and all the time she is with her friend. One friend will carry her and then she will come and sit next to that friend. And because of that, the children are able to mingle with everybody. Sometimes when you have got disability problem, those children who are able to do can help them. And when they help them, they also feel confident. But when you segregate them, when you put them separately, then they feel they are not normal. They are somebody different from the other. And they find it difficult to mingle with the other. They find it difficult to go with the others. So that is one disadvantage. Otherwise, I have seen, by and large, many children who are having learning disability are able to cope with the normal courses of life. They are able to meet everything. They know how to dress themselves, they know how to learn, accept, accommodate, also do the homeworks, whatever is possible, they are doing it. So it is good also to include as well as bring special education platforms for them. They are also asking how to identify. Lot of tests are given today. If you go to this Dr. Simpson's office, they will ask so many questions, and if you answer all the questions, no, they will tell you are having learning disability. But they don't understand that you don't understand the question. So this is where we have also to be very, very careful. Diagnosis of learning difficulties through pre-tests. Lot of tests are being done today, and all the tests need not to be right for us. Okay, all the tests need not to prove, because the tests are only tests at this point of time. For example, now I am perspiring. That's why they have put on fan. Does not mean that I will be perspiring tomorrow, or it was yesterday like that. The status of my mind, the mental status examination at this point of time, now this is what I am. So every child goes through a different mental status at different points of time. So we need to identify them, what is wrong. There was a child, a teacher who was always upset in the schools. Then I could not find out why. And one day I called him and I asked him, sir, you seem to be very different and there is some problem with your behavior. You are very angry with your children in this classroom. What is wrong with you? Then only I came to know that he has got some issue with his wife. At home he has got a problem and it is projected in the classroom, and who is suffering? Children are suffering. So we have to understand human behaviors are very, very different, dear friends. We can't just bring an umbrella and say this is a learning disability because we failed in 5 qualities. It's not that way. Yeah? I just want you to learn more about it. We will do a small test. I will find out how many are able and how many are disabled. Okay? So this small test is very simple. If I tell 1, you will stand up. And if I tell 2, you will sit down. And if I tell 3, you will stand up and raise your right hand. And if I tell 4, you will be sitting down. So 1 is for standing, 2, sitting down, 3, standing and raising your right hand, and 4, sitting down. Clear? Yeah? Ready? Yes. Come on. 1 trial, then the rest is game. Okay?
You don't stand?
All have to stand when I say.
No, you're not
Okay? Just a trial. Be careful. Be ready. Number 1. Fast, fast. Otherwise, I'll say you are having a Number 3. Number 2. Number 1. Number 4. Number 2. You are having too easy. You see, this is what we do. We create some commands and we tell that people to follow, and if they don't follow, if they don't respond, then they have a problem. Then we say that this is wrong, that something is wrong. So this is not the way to identify and say what is learning disability, It has to go through a long way, a long process. Unless we do that, it's not possible. So friends, I just want to share with you that the test that being conducted, it has to be long tested. You can't just diagnose this with one sitting or 2 sittings. It has to go, it has to take time. And so we need to understand them. Then removing backwardness in learning using various methods. There are a lot of methods. What was the method of learning in Naga community? It was simply a oral transmission. The grandparents told one story, and it has come to another story. So that is how we follow. Today we are using learning and writing, and also our Roman letters are being used for learning. So we have to understand our limitations in our learnings. And people who come from very far backward areas, who have never had a schooling proper. For example, those of us who are coming from eastern Nagaland, beyond Nagaland, beyond Shamato, you go beyond Kifre. I am very sorry to tell you, if this what's called Mon students have taken some action against not functioning officers, why? What is wrong with us in educating those children? Don't they deserve good quality education like the children of Dimapur and Kohima? They also deserve. And if they don't have good schooling, and if they come to class 7 and 8 to big schools here, they are not able to fare well. They are not able to identify things well. So it is our problem. We need to identify this problem and we need to address this problem. Frequent planned remedial measures that the special school people will take care. Then support and cooperation of parents. Parents' cooperation is very, very nil. Parents are denying the fact that children have no problem. Yes or no? Many times it is a parental problem. Parents do not want to bring them out. I went to one village in Quisam. Quisam is in Kifre district, very far. And one child for 14 years never came out to see the sunshine. Always inside. And they were hiding. They don't want anybody to know that their child is having this problem, spastic child. And they think it is a curse from God. That is why their child was like this. And they don't want to bring up. We went, we talked, we intervened, and then we found out that it is not God's curse. Come on, bring out the child. After 14 years, that child could see sunshine in his life. What a beautiful thing. I am so happy about the disability sector who are leading and doing. Even in our church we are doing. From Development Association of Nagaland, we are taking care of all the disabled children of Kifre district, of also three districts in Nagaland we are taking care. We are trying to do. Just near to our school, our brother Andrew Ahato has given his land for the angel home, where disabled children are kept. It is not even 1 kilometer from here, my dear children, brothers and sisters. You go and see how dedicated people are doing their work, caring for them, giving their best. So never say that a disability is a curse. It is big myth that church should come out of that. We should never say it is a curse from God, it is a sin of your parents. Please tell the parents it is something to do with the genes, maybe during birth or after birth. It has something to do when the child was being carried in the mother's womb, maybe psychological disorders of the mother that has made the child today with a learning disability. So it has nothing to do with God. Please don't blame God for everything. God is a good person, okay? And that is why we are all good. Otherwise you would have made everybody with different problems. So we should understand all this in our lives. So one therapy, cognitive remedial therapy. It is a therapy that improves mental abilities such as attention, working memory, reasoning, visual, auditory processing, cognitive flexibility, processing speed, stamina, so many things. Dr. Singson will be speaking more on specific learning disability. One therapy that people usually use for learning disability children is cognitive remedial therapy. And we can use that in the schools. Even for normal children we can use that. It is not only for children with learning disabilities. All of us at one point of the time we will be needing that. So we can use some of these remedial measures to help children to come out of learning disabilities so that their learning becomes very easy and joyful. Otherwise learning becomes very tiring, very boring. One boy went for summer vacation and he came back and he was crying in the school. Then teacher asked him, "Johnny, are you homesick?" "No miss, I am here sick." We make school a sick place. Yeah, because the children are very fed up of coming to school. They don't know. One boy was admitted in school and then after 1 month neighbor asked him, "Hi, how is your school?" "School going is very nice because my father drops me by car and he will give me one ugly chips and one Sprite every day. Coming back also very nice because I come by auto with all the friends very happy. In between is the problem. Going and coming is okay. In between is the problem. The school is a problem. So better." I was there in Pungro. We used to conduct a lot of Teachers' Day program on 5th September. And all the children used to come with the placards. This what is called long live teachers. They will say, backside fellows, "Long live banana leaf." They will not say. And they will say, "No teacher, no problem." So the school has become a problem for many of us, including me. Okay, so that is why I don't go to school. Why? Our learning has become a burden. And I tell you friends, all of us, at 1% or 2%, some learning disability will exist in us. We really need to identify, work on it. There are a lot of remedial measures for that, and we can just move ahead of life. That's what I want to share with you this morning. Thank you for the opportunity. This is a quote I just want to end with. Learning disabilities cannot be cured, but they can be treated successfully, and children with learning disability can go on to live happy, successful lives. And this is my goal. Abilities are endowed, disabilities are endured. We need to endure, like our sister said. She endured a disability. Today she has come successfully and says, "I am happy for what I am." And that is what we really need to endure in life. Thank you so much. God bless you.
I came to Nagaland in the year 2014. When I joined CIHSR, the referral hospital, I came with a lot of expectations that there will be a lot of facilities for children with different forms of disabilities. The director who made me to come here, when I asked him, "You come and see," he said. So when he said like that, I thought there will be a lot of facilities available for people with different forms of disabilities. And when I came here, I started inquiring. Nobody knew about. There is something called the invisible handicap. I don't know how many of you know about it. Like intellectual disability, that once people called it as mental retardation. And I want to make a correction here. This mental retardation is an outdated term, right? We are not supposed to use this term anywhere. Once it was used as mental retardation, the problem is not related to mind, right? The problem is related to intelligence. So it is called intellectual disability. Clear? So the word American Association on Mental Retardation was changed to American Association on Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities since 1996, so many years ago. But still, many parts of our country, people are using this terminology right and left. It is totally wrong. We are supposed to stop this. And I have seen one particular school with the name School for Mentally Retarded in one part of Tamil Nadu. I told them they didn't like to change it. Okay, because they themselves didn't know what is mental retardation. When I asked them what is mental retardation, they were talking about intelligence. Then I asked them what is intellectual disability, they got stuck. And even now they are using the same word. Then they gave the excuse that we have already registered this name with the government, changing it will cause lot of problem. That is not true. Very easily you can change the name. Anyway, so it is intellectual disability, not mental retardation. This is one of the corrections I want to make here. So I could see quite a lot of people. Are there teachers? Teachers, can you please raise your hand? As usual, teachers, when I call people to raise their hands, they never raise their hands. Okay. If I say, how many of you say yes? One or two. Then if I ask, how many of you say no? Again, one or two. What will happen to others? Okay. When I visited one of the schools in Dipupa, and I asked the teachers, I had a session with them. After finishing my session, I asked the teachers, do you have any doubts? They just kept quiet. They never said yes or no. So then I conducted one workshop, the first workshop in the year 2015 in our hospital. About 67 teachers from nearby schools, they participated. That's the first time they came to know about IDD, Intellectual and Developmental Disabilities. There also I asked them, how many of you understood this? None of them raised their hands. So then I asked them, how many of you didn't understand? That also nobody. Then one of my colleagues, I was actually getting angry inside. He realized that. He came and told me, Simpson, the Nagaland, the tradition is not to raise your hands. You are not supposed to ask questions also. That's so. No, you were taught in schools not to ask questions. Since then I stopped asking questions. But still sometimes I used to force people to answer. Otherwise, how will I know that you understood or not? Isn't it? If you didn't understand, I need to explain you again. Anyway, yeah. When I visited one of the schools in Dekupa, I asked the teachers. They didn't know what is intellectual disability. So they said, no, we didn't know. Then finally, I couldn't find out whether the school is having children with intelligence problem. So I asked the fifth standard teacher, are there students who are failing repeatedly in class? Then she said, yes, there are quite a few. So I asked her to bring them to me. Then when I checked their school work, I could see quite a lot of errors some of the children made in their school exercises, in reading, writing, as well as arithmetic. Then I asked them why he is doing like this, writing over and over again, pakla. She said, he is pakla. So I didn't know what is pakla. So I came back and asked my director, what is pakla? He is also from Kerala, he didn't know. He said he will find out from the next person. So he went to Dr. Vumer, who is the deputy director, and asked him what is pakla. He started laughing. Like that, he started laughing. So I was a little surprised. Probably I would have done some mistake. Then finally he said, pakla means mad. So that was the word used for people with different forms of intellectual and developmental disabilities that time, about 10 years ago. Now how is it? I could see tremendous changes throughout Nagaland. I started writing articles in most of the local newspapers, through which parents who were shying away, showing their children, secretly they started bringing those children to me. After assessing and after counseling, they accepted, yes, there is some problem with my child. But still they had a lot of difficulties because of several issues, particularly the social as well as religious misconceptions. Like Father Joseph, more than the social, I could see a lot of religious misconceptions. Okay, even in churches, priests were preaching, it is because of your sin, you are punished by giving a child like this to you. Okay, this sort of preaching was going on that time. Now, almost is vanishing, as he said. Right. Is it said in the Bible that it is because of your sin you are punished with a disabled child? Yes, in the Old Testament, in few places. But what happened after Jesus Christ came? John chapter 9, please write down. John chapter 9, verses 1, 2 and 3. As Jesus passed by, he saw a blind man. His disciples went and asked Jesus why he was born blind. What was the answer given by Jesus? The disciples asked why he was born blind. Is it because of his sin or his parents' sin? So what was the answer Jesus gave? Anybody? Here again, you all will keep quiet. Even though you know the answer. You would have gone through this chapter several occasions. Jesus said, neither because of his sin nor his parents. Who said? Is not your priest or pastor or your father or your grandparents or your ancestors. It is our own God. Jesus Christ himself said, neither because of his sin nor his parents' sin. Do you believe this? Still many of you are having doubts. Okay. Whether you believe it or not, that's what our God said. It's not because of our sin these things are happening. Father also said very clearly. Okay, it's not because of sin. Scripture never says that it is because of your sin or your ancestors. Because of this, parents were finding it. Actually, it is his area, psychological aspects of disabilities. I'm touching little bit. Hope I'm not wasting my time. And so because of this, parents were not bringing children to us to evaluate and tell them about the problems. This is because of the religious constraints. And because of this religious faith, the social aspects also, society also is affected. And because of the society's expectation, they refuse to bring out these people. That's what happened 10 years ago, till 10 years ago. After that, the awareness started increasing. Now I'm very happy that at least people's attitude and knowledge have changed quite a lot towards people with disabilities. Am I disabled?
After we are talking with you.
Eh?
After we are talking with you.
Do you see me? No. Do you see me? Yes. No. What am? Can you tell me? Can you tell me? Physically you are seeing me. Am I right? Yes. But you cannot see me. You are blind. You are all disabled people. Do you accept this? Okay. In our life, some way or other, we are all having disabilities. Then why should we call only certain people as disabled? Because we are disabled. Right? So we should not address them as disabled people, but no other way. Here also I am forced to use that. Though I didn't like to use that word disability. Right? But we should know that we are all disabled. By this, now I will go on to my topic. It's an interesting topic, but very difficult topic. So this teacher was calling that boy. He was about 11 or 12 years old, sitting in 5th standard, and overwriting, rubbing the pages, torn the pages, and very messy work he was having. So she told me that he is pakla. Then I asked the teacher to call his parents. So parents are working in the farm. They were not afford to pay money to bring the boy for a investigation from our hospital. Finally, we made it free, and that boy was brought, and he was having specific learning disability. When I told the mother that he is having specific learning disability, I told her, I explained her different features of specific learning disability. She couldn't understand. She was going on telling Pakla. Again, she was sticking on to that. So I was very upset and unhappy. Again, I asked her to bring him back to me after 3 months. But she brought him back after 1 year because she took him to a prayer center. Okay, to pray for this problem. The prayer center people said that it is one form of, again, Pakla. So he will be all right. You commit yourself, commit your sins, so that your child will come out of this problem. It didn't happen for a year. Again, he came back to us only for the treatment. Let me stop here. I can keep on adding. So she said that father, if he is allowed, I am worse than him. I will stay here and talk till midnight, if you allow me. Okay, right. From your understanding, what is specific learning disability? What is specific learning disability? Any idea? Father briefly explained you about specific learning disability. Is there any difference between learning disability and specific learning disability? Right. In United States, till the year 2002, people started talking about learning disability, particularly intellectual disability. Those days also they didn't believe in mental retardation. They were calling this as learning disability. But later, when specific learning disability was described, learning disability and specific learning disability, there were a lot of confusions. So that's why most of the countries now, they don't use learning disability, but intellectual and developmental disabilities. That's what Father was describing about learning disability, quite a large number of disorders and other problems. But specific learning disability is mostly related to 3 main problems in children, which we will go through that one by one. Now, there was a person by name Ron Davis. He was struggling in school, in spelling, and lot of troubles were given by his school teachers as well as his mother. When he was finding it difficult to spell certain words, that particular day, mother used to write it on a flashcard, hang it over his neck, and he was made to travel in the school bus having that particular word. By evening, when he comes back home, he was supposed to tell the spelling as well as read that word. So other children, they were all making fun of this boy, as Father Joe said. So he was very much ridiculed by classmates and others, including his teachers. He was tormented too much. And in the end, what happened was he couldn't study well, but he was the person who developed one particular technique, that is using Play-Doh, that is clay. So clay modeling, through clay modeling, he developed a lot of alphabets, and he said that these children are having one particular problem called visuospatial relationship as well as the major problem is, he said, this orientation of mind, this orientation of mind, right? But many people didn't know exactly what was this orientation of mind. He very clearly explained that when he looked at a picture or a letter, he used to orient himself around the letter, above the letter, in front of the letter, behind the letter, under the letter, right side, left side. Because of that, he used to get confused. Within a fraction of a second, he used to orient his mind in different angles and directions. That confused him. That's why he had the problem of identifying the letters, small letters B and D, capital letter M and W and R. I will show you how it happens. I don't know whether all of you are able to see this letter. What is this letter? D. Small letter D in English. What is this letter now? How did it become B now? D becomes now B and B becomes D. This is because, see, if I look at this letter from here, it looks like D to me. But whereas, if you look from there, it looks like B to you. That is the way Ron Davis perceived. It's a perceptual problem. Father also said in one place, perceptual recognition problem. That is again part of learning disabilities, but is part of specific learning disability. So this B and the P and Q, I'll come to that a little later. So he came out with this idea that this orientation of mind. Is it clear to you now? Similarly, if I show you another letter, what is this letter? W. What is this letter? M. When you look it from above, it becomes W. When it go under the letter and look at it, it becomes M. This is because of this orientation of mind. So he is the first person who came out with this theory. It's not a theory, it's a practical thing. So through clay modeling letters, he started teaching people with specific learning disabilities and corrected this sort of problems. I cannot go in detail about all these theories, okay, because if you want to learn about this, I will take 2 years to teach you. It's a broader area, it's a very broader area to understand exactly what is specific learning disability. And let us move on. And there are different terminologies that were used about this specific learning disability. When I joined CMC, that is in the year 1978. Imagine, 1978, children who came to us with this specific learning disability, they were considered to have minimal brain dysfunction. So we used to write in the chart of those children as the diagnosis as MBD, minimal brain dysfunction. So different types of terminologies were used. And later, about 20-30 years ago, they were called as children with dyslexia. So in the year 1983, I did a study to find out the number of children suffering in Vellore district, Vellore town with this particular dyslexia. I found about 7% of children having this problem. So that time it was dyslexia. But later on is changed to specific learning disability. When you look at the history, I don't want to go into detail about all this history. Anyway, the common characters, you can see common characters in children with specific learning disability. Recently, a child started coming to our center. He was diagnosed to have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD. We did all the assessment, the psychologist did some of the related assessments, and she made a diagnosis of attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. He is attending, he is reaching 6 years. Now what happened was, when he started coming for therapy, the father started asking him to write letters. He refused to write letters. He used to scream and then shout at the father and get angry with him and run out of the class. Through continuous observation for about a month, we could find out that this boy is developing specific learning disability, particularly in writing. One particular type of problem called reversal writing. I will come to that a little later. So, when they are young itself, we can start suspecting children who are very rebellious. They will become very rebellious. They will be inattentive. They cannot sit in a place, hyperactive, and get angry, refuse to do things, and they sometimes prefer to go out of the house and come back, moving around. They will give you an impression that they are hyperactive. But at the same time, not necessarily hyperactive. You have to look for other problems also. So this boy, it is emerging now. So we are trying to intervene that now itself to identify the problem and arrest those problems to avoid this problem becoming more severe. These are some of the common features you can see. This again, the school, if you go to school, one day they will be performing better. The other day they may be scoring 0 mark. Okay, and out of motor disorders, that is the writing, pencil grip and all won't be proper. And when you ask them to perform activities, their eye-hand coordination also won't be proper. Then for frustration, they will have low tolerance. They cannot tolerate any frustration, get angry, and then the school performance also inconsistent. As I told you, short attention, then poor reading, then frequent confusion in direction. Particularly when you ask them, show me your right hand. This is one of the tests you can easily check with these children who are having specific learning disability. Show me your right hand, the child will confuse. This or this. When you ask the parents, can he show right or left? They will say yes, but you have to check. When they say right, show me your right hand, the child will look at the hand like this and this hand. Then when the child look at the right hand, the mother or father will say yes. Then, so they will be giving the clue. But the child will be getting confused. Front and back, on and under, in front or behind, in between. So most of the prepositions and opposite concepts, they will be getting confused. Impulsive, they become very impulsive, get angry all on a sudden. And parents won't be knowing the reason. Speech problems, again, may not be very prominent, speech problem, but some children, the word finding problem, the appropriate word, they find it difficult to catch. Memory problem they will have, then incoordination, lot of incoordination. When you give them to color pictures, okay, you draw a big picture and ask them to color, they have a tendency to go out of the borders all the time. Most of the pictures they will be doing that because of incoordination problem. The bilateral coordination, there are different types of coordination will be affected in these children. And sometimes when parents get angry with them, if the mother's or father's face is very angry, the child cannot perceive that. He will be thinking as if nothing happened. Then the letters also, the sound and the letter, the graphic representation, they find it difficult to make a connection. Now, coming back to the different types of specific learning disabilities. The first one is dyslexia. You would have heard about dyslexia very often. Sometimes in newspaper articles also you can see this, exactly what is dyslexia. Once all the three problems like dyscalculia and dysgraphia, all the three combined together was called as dyslexia. But dyslexia is more related to reading disability. We will see what are the different features of reading disability. Yeah, as I told you, while reading, the punctuation marks, if there is a full stop, they won't stop. They will keep on reading. If there is a comma, they won't give regard to that. If something is within quotation, that also they won't give any regard to. So the punctuation marks, they won't respect. And difficulty in spelling. Okay, I will tell you some of the examples about spelling little later. And when you ask them to read out loudly, they cannot. They will not like murmuring. They will be reading something which they don't like others hearing. Very softly they will read. There was a boy who was brought to me in the year 2016, if I remember correctly. That time he was in second standard, but father brought this boy with a complaint that he cannot read. So when I asked him to read, he started crying. Tears started rolling down. Then I told him that no need to read. Then I gave another appointment. So second time when he came, he refused to come, but he was told that he won't be given any reading exercise. So I taught the father how to help him to read by syllabication. There is one technique called syllabication. Dividing the words into syllables, one vowel in each syllable. So that makes a syllable there. So all the different techniques I taught the father. Father taught him at home. Within 2 years, he picked up reading, proper reading. Okay, he started dividing each word according to the syllabic. That is called syllabic approach. If you Google also, you can find out. Syllabic approach. It helped him quite a lot. Last year, we had the Allied Sciences exhibition for school children. When the school children came, suddenly one boy came and called me, "Doctor, how are you? Do you remember me?" I said, "No, I am so and so. I am in 11th standard now." Okay, he was a school dropout, sent out of the school. Are there teachers here? Okay, he was sent out of the school. Now he is scoring more than 50% in almost all subjects. He was so happy. He hugged me and he took a photograph also with me. Right? Another case, an MBBS student, second year MBBS students from Shillong. She was brought to me, but I didn't know that she was the affected person. So we call them as patients, but they are not patients. That's why he said affected person. She came inside my office, not my room, came inside my office. Then I asked her, "Where is your child?" She said, she started blinking. Then I asked her, "Who are you? I want to see you." "For what?" "I have some problem." Then I asked her, "Where is your mother?" So finally she brought her mother. I thought she was the mother of a child. Okay. Then she started talking. Before starting itself, she started, the tears started rolling down. And then after some pause, she explained her difficulty. Most of the medical terminologies, she was finding it very difficult to read. So for which she was blamed by her professors. So for her also, what I found was the syllabic problem. She didn't know how to divide the syllable. Syllabic approach she was taught. She was overjoyed. She started jumping the first day itself. Okay, she learned the proper technique. Like pseudopodia, there was a word called pseudopodia. So she didn't know how to read it. I made her to do the syllabication and then made her to read. She read very well. She jumped out of joy, went out of the room and told the mother, I learned the technique. After that, she sent me certain WhatsApp messages telling that now she is not having a problem. But he was teased by her teachers as well as classmates. Right? So reading disability, I can tell you a lot of stories like that. As I explained you, the B and D problem, P and Q problem, they look more or less similar, because of the disorientation of mind. Then reversal reading also will be there when you ask them to read. Like N-O, no, they will read it as O-N, on, or tip, T-I-P, tip, they will read it as P-I-T. From the right hand side, they will start reading. So because of right and left confusion. Then I already explained you about the capital letters M and W. That is because of the disorientation problem. Yeah, the main problem, already I mentioned, is spelling and phonetics. English is a very good language, isn't it? It's a very good language. We all know that it's a very good language. We love English. Now, what is CITY? Please, what is CITY? City. So C sounds city. Yes. C sounds yes. What is CAKE? Why it is not sake? If CITY city, CAKE is sake. If CAKE is cake, CITY is kitty. English is a very good language, right? What is PUT? Put. What is CUT? Why it is not put? PUT is put. So CUT also should be put. If CUT is cut, PUT is put. Isn't it? Isn't it? Right. VECAUSE. VECAUSE. Why it is not because what happened to the E? You have swallowed. Because English is a very good language. What is KNIFE? Why it is not knife? What is the need for the letter K? MORNING? Morning. I know you are all hungry, so you had swollen R. Right? If you go to Andhra Pradesh, they will all say morning, iron box, early, or very clearly they will articulate. Britishers cannot twist their tongue and articulate R. So conveniently they say it is silent. Because they cannot. Right? Hundreds of problems like this. What is SOLD? Soul. SOLDIER? Soldier. Where is the J? How come J there? Isn't it? Any word, any letter you take like this, hundreds and thousands of errors in English language. It is one of the worst languages on earth. We respect it as the best language. How many of you were severely punished in school for spelling mistakes? Do you remember? Isn't it? In the world, no other language is having this much difficulty in spellings. For example, if you take Hindi, kalam. Kalam. The same way you speak, you have letters. If you want to write kalam in English, Kalam. What is the spelling for Kalam? What is the spelling for Kalam? K-A-L-A. What is the spelling for column? Saying. This is the problem with English language. Inbuilt problem. We mechanically, by rote, we were taught by Britishers. Okay. We learned that way. But you should know that children with specific learning disability, they are all very, very intelligent than us. Unless you reason out, they won't understand, they won't accept it also. That is why the problem with phonetics in children with specific learning disability. Is it clear?
Yes.
So, teachers, have you noticed children like this with the spelling problem? Getting confused with for C-I-T-Y, kitty, or C-I-T-Y, city, C-A-K-E, sick. Your classmates, you don't see it. Now you don't forgotten that. Okay, so they will have difficulty in finding out the difference between uppercase, lowercase letters, cap letters and small letters, and most often they assume and read. Okay, sometimes they lose their place. While reading, they will lose, then will skip to third or fourth line. Or sometimes they may skip certain words also while reading in between. Okay, or they may prefix. Yeah, they may add something to the beginning of the word, like wanted, they may read it as unwanted. That prefix, suffix, like come. If there is a word come, they will add coming. That is suffix. So they may add prefix or suffix. Then that is called additions. Spelling mistakes already mentioned. And they will have whatever they have read. If you ask them to write down the summary, they find it very difficult. I told you about their confusion while reading. Okay. Now, there is something called figure ground problem. We have different tests for this to find out whether the student is having this figure ground problem, why the child is having this reading problem. If there is figure ground problem, there are different types of therapies, treatment to correct this figure ground problem. Right. Now, I am talking to you. You are all looking at me. You are seeing me only. But do you know that there are a lot of things behind me? These flowers, the drum set, okay, the projector, even the screen. Your eyes are blind to that, isn't it? Whatever is at the background, you are not seeing that. As well as whatever is in front of me, you are not looking at the mic. You are blind to the mic. You are blind to whoever is sitting in front of you. Okay. That, in fact, that should be in foreground. Whatever is in foreground, you are not visible. Whatever is at the background also, you are not visible. So this is called figure ground problem. Children with specific learning disability, when they read, see the first page, there is something called perceptual. When the child reads the word perceptual, all the other words come together to the foreground. When we read that particular word, that only we will look at. The other words will go to the background. But these children will have difficulty in bringing the other words at the background. Everything will come to the foreground. They will get thoroughly confused. What is this? What is this letter? B. D. If you come this side, D. So you make the child hold both the hands. When the child sees the letter D, okay, D, the child has to hold both the hands like this and compare this. First you have to teach the child A, B, C, D. Okay, A, B, C, D. Keep the hand over the letter and then child will say A, B, C, D. So this is B or this is D. So this is the way we teach. In due course, automatically with the mental picture, they start after a few months or years, they will correct themselves and they find out the difference. Another example, if M, confusion between letter M and W, how we correct them is, M is having how many mountains? 2 mountains. W is having 1 mountain in the middle. So, mountain M. So, mountain is having 2 mountains. You know, this W is having only 1 mountain. So, mountain M. That's the way we correct them. Like this, there are hundreds of techniques we need to learn and help the children. These techniques, there are specially trained teachers. They are the special teachers. There is remedial teachers. They are called as remedial teachers. It's a 2 years training course you have to do, and then such teachers can handle these children. Whereas in Nagaland, you cannot see any remedial teacher, but all the schools are inclusive schools. They are all having special teachers. What's special? What's special? Collecting salaries. They are special. They are not specialists. Okay, that is the mistake of the government again. Okay, government is not selecting qualified teachers. Now, very often I have seen with my own eyes through backdoor. Okay, this Sarva Shiksha Abhiyan, special teachers were appointed. Not even a single teacher had this special education training. So, sad stage. So, the government also has to do something for this. They have to learn first. Right.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. We did have taken a long stretch, but it was a pleasant one and a lot of intakes, I would say that. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all the mentors who have been here from various departments, and also those who are here to give the wonderful narration about the workshop. I thank you all for the wonderful time that you have come and given over here. Not forgetting the media person, who will be the person to highlight, to make people aware, because in this room there's hardly probably 100, but you will be reaching out to thousands, and to make them aware of what LD is all about, the learning disability. I know in this present juncture, there are a lot of things that we need to learn and we need to know. During our time, we are not so much privileged, I would say that. We were just brought up with sticks and chalk method. We used to go to the classroom, chalk and talk was the only solution, writing notes, delivering, taking problem solving with the maths, and that too, it has to be in exact coordination with what the maths teacher has given. We cannot go anything a bit left or the right, what he or she has taught the formula. It has to be exact ditto. It cannot be the formula of the tuition tutor or anybody, because they'll say that is wrong process, because what method I teach is right and what the other teach is wrong. And if you're not learning properly, the stick was the only solution. And where parents used to always say, encourage that you can beat my children as much as you want till he learns, right? So that's what it was. But nowadays it has become just the opposite. And I wish I had Gugu by my side to be a narrator or my teacher, because she has such wonderful articulation to speak on. And I know that each syllable that she speaks is so nice, because I actually am a learner by listening and visual. I love this too. Writing is good, reading is good, but sometimes a bit boring. And it makes you to sleep when you read, But when you listen and when you see the visual, it really makes me grasp much more than what I can have actually. So every person is made differently, in this world. No person is the same anytime, anywhere, even the looks and even the understanding level. Well, when I was doing my BA my BA degree out here, we were the first batch. I had written also a book on a thesis about juvenile delinquency. I had written a A4 page series, and it was about maybe a 1.5 inch thick. It was wonderful to write about that, because now we are dealing with children, and juvenile delinquency is quite high on the rise of many problematic children. So we have to understand that the problematic children. It's not about that it is because of the children being raised, as our sirs have said, inherited by the parents and so on. Maybe we are not able to understand them. The ADHD is very important, the LD is very important. But LD as a subject, it's an umbrella. It's a very big umbrella. There are a lot of things below that which every parent should understand. Maybe there are some of you here who are in the media personnel, they also have a problem, but not able to understand. Who will understand them? Maybe the mentors themselves will be having some problems. Who are to understand? See, so it is a big holistic approach where we all need to understand that what I may be deficient about, we do not know sometimes. Even we ourselves, we cannot study. So I feel that sometimes we are having problem with learning disability, mental disability. Maybe we have spiritual disability also. We do not know. We had to identify. And the curriculum has become such good in this present world that everything has become so precise to make us understand that where things have gone wrong and where there are corrective measures. And I would say it has not reached the 100% for me in my perspective. I would say that there's still more to learn. And the faster we learn, the better it is. Obviously, as Sir has said about the CBSE curriculum, we are under the NCERT. Yes, they have a CWS, and they call it Child with Special Need. We call it PWD also, where we call it like children with what we call physical disability. Our PWD, what we understand is out here in Dimapur would be like, okay, public work department. And when we were kids, we used to say that, what is PWD? We say, please wait, darling. Okay, that was what we said in our school time, person with disability, PWD. So it is an acronym, but it's been used in different ways of putting it across, So a lot of things right now. And present children, they have scribe, as I said, as Sir was saying. Like, the children have the facility to bring upon a person who can write for them if they're having disorder of writing. So which gives a fair chance to all children of each level. So we have to identify. And the best to understand and identify is actually the school. So I feel that every school should be identified with this particular subject, LD, learning disability, and every school should be properly equipped. Because it is the small children, especially the class, lower class, some they call it A, B, some they call UKG, some they call Prep 1 and Prep 2. These are the right beginning where everything can be, the Pandora box can be opened. We do not understand that. But many of our parents and many of our elders, we always give attention to the senior classes, 9, 10, 11, 12. We forget to understand that 8 and below is the most important, the most crucial, the very essence of a person where they have gone right and wrong and how to correct them. That's where we have forgotten to understand. Abroad, you know that the lower classes have been given the maximum attention. The lower kindergarten classes, teachers have been given the maximum payroll. Why? Because that is the time to have the corrective measures. It is the teacher, it is the mentor who would actually call upon the parent and identify the children what problem they're having. And it is the right age where they can go to the good counselors and find out that if they have been having some deficiency, where the corrective measures can be taken. It's very important. So I feel that this is very important, and this has to be taken across Nagaland. We have a lot of deficiency in Nagaland also, where we are not able to understand. So I think that I'm proud that we Livingston, we have started, we call ourselves Livingston Foundation International. Why? Because we are following a curriculum 8 and below the Cambridge. We are the first Cambridge in Nagaland and the second in the Northeast. So we follow a different pattern of concept where the children are not brought about by memory, rote memory. We do not emphasize on that. We emphasize on concept. We emphasize on whether the children understand what they are reading and writing. It is that very essence that makes them to be more special. So a child, when they are learning at a young age, I tell you, most of our kids are good in handwriting. Why? Because they have been corrected in the beginning, initial stage. Many a time I've seen many elders, they cannot even read their own writing. They have not been corrected from the young age. But many of our kids over here, not saying because we are here, but they have been taught how to write properly. how to speak properly, articulate, how to read, write and everything, storytelling, whatever. Because it is very important. Even letter writing is very important. Many of our graduates don't even know how to write letters. Very sad. But in Cambridge, 8 and below, 5, 6, they are able to write letters. They're able to write poems. They're able to express themselves. Because why? Because they have the concept to understand what they are actually doing. It is not a rote memory. Many a time we see that the children are being forced upon, given notes, read this and that's it. Poor child is memorizing on and on, repeating like a parrot, 10, 20 times. You can see early morning when I was a small kid, I used to see in the Loti colony, we used to stay there, shouting at the top of the voice, the children memorizing, mugging up, cramming up everything, on and on again, repetitive. I mean, has that not got to do something with the problem in teaching, learning? Because they have been told to cram without understanding. But the essence of new education policy is about conceptualization, about understanding what you are doing, what you are reading, what you are writing. If you understand something, I feel that your job is done and you will become successful. As our sir has also mentioned, many of the scientists, top people, they were what? Drop off. They had problem, SLD. I think one, maybe he forgot to put his Henry Ford. Even the Ford company, he was also chucked out of the school. He became one of the best vehicle in the world, right? And so many others are there. So in a child, in a school, a child, in a classroom, let us say this is one classroom, every child is made differently. Some can be writers, some will be poets, some will be journalism, okay, so some will be entrepreneurs, some will be singers, dancers. So as Madam had rightly pointed out, we cannot judge a fish to climb, like what Einstein had said, it's exactly the same. Because every child is different. But this present modern world, the people are thinking that marks and grades have become synonymous. Every school is only running after grades and marks and grades to see which child will be the best, 99 upon 99 or 100 upon 100. Why are we running after marks and grades? Have the child become a human? Has the child become understand in conceptualization? I think that is where we have to hunt for, instead of only running after marks. So we have to understand that a school needs an environment where it is not over cramped up, as our servers say. Some classes are 50, some have 80 also, I have seen in schools. But what are they learning? That's what matters. So there has to be a capping also in the schools, where children should not be over cramped up. It is only for the sake of teaching. It is only for the sake of giving the minimal fees that have to be cramped up. And who is at the receiving end? It will be the parent, it will be the children for the future per se. It will not be good. So what I feel is that Nagaland also has got a lot of good intellectuals, a lot of good children, a lot of good perspective there is in years to come. But we need to start from the very basic. When we go outside Nagaland, especially West Bengal, the teachers' salaries are paid by the government. The DA especially, not the TA, but the DA. So where the children have been brought up, the teachers have been brought up in a good pay scale, so they can teach better. Now, when we look at the perspective in Nagaland, we see that in the government school, we see that a child is paying nearly, the government is paying for the child nearly 1,20,000, let us say minimum per annum. But when we look at the private schools, I see that a child is paying hardly 20,000, 30,000 per annum in the private school, yet they are doing the best. What is the comparative difference? Government school give free uniform, free textbook, free food, everything, and also maybe the infrastructure is there. So per child, it comes to nearly 1,20,000 minimum per annum. But for that also for a day scholar, not for the boarders, okay? But for the private school, hardly 20,000, 30,000 is a max capping in an average, I would say. Who's doing better off? Without any privileges, without much money. So I would like to sometimes let people make aware. If that money had to be given to the private and work as a PPP or a joint venture with the government, I think our Nagaland will be one of the best state to make education a hub of education, a tourism hub of education. Many tourists would like to come and send their children here for studies because we have the best mentors, I would say that, in every aspect in that way. Climate also is good in many ways. We used to go down those days, I remember children going to Nainital, Simla, Darjeeling, Shillong, wherever, all the hill station. Why? Because we didn't have good schools. But by now, it's just the opposite. But the facilities are very few. This is the problem that we are having. I guess we need to have all this. And I'm very grateful to our director, Lapia. Okay? So, in the word, actually the abbreviation Lapia is, yeah, she'll be having the best of the word, but in Sumi, La Pia actually means to show the way or to show the road. La Pia means to show. Okay, so very wonderfully coined by her, and it was through her that this program could be held over here. I know such programs should be held in every schools and colleges. I would say that. Okay, at least for the colleges, yes, it is good, but they have become mature. They understand much more than anybody because they are above the age of 18. Adolescents have been crossed. But what about the juniors who cannot even express, who are feeling very shy, except for the ADHD who are very hyper? What about the opposite of ADHD, who cannot even express, who are camera shy probably, or who are introvert? Extrovert is a different altogether ball game. So we need to also understand that introvert children who cannot even express, who cannot even speak, who feel shy to even raise the fingers or hands or whatever, we need to understand all this. And I guess through this particular workshop of consultancy of LD, I guess that our state can go to a better level. And I would wish that all the media also especially concentrate on the learning disability and the learning, the policies of new education for NEP is very important. Because education is the backbone of any nation. There was one, I believe it was Nelson Mandela, I'm not sure, but it was said that in Africa, one in the college entry gate, it says, to destroy a nation, we don't need atom bomb, we do not need nuclear bomb. We just need to lower the education policy. See, education can kill everything. Education is the backbone. If you want our state to prosper, good education will actually do the best for every one of us. So I guess through this education, through the LD that we have learned through the workshop, we are trying to, even now, some of us, we are showing the B, D, G, F also is there. I know, even the C and E, Q and small g. Sometimes people get even to decipher, it becomes very difficult. Many of us must be saying, oh, I also had the same problem when I was a kid. Even I did have a problem on that, B and D and all that. Okay, sometimes it confuses us till now. So, but many will not accept, Many will say that I am perfect. So many must have learned today that we also must have come across all that. They all are not perfect, I will say that. We need to learn, and learning is from womb to the tomb. I guess every day is a learning for us, and this learning should not be a selfish learning. I feel that this learning, what we have gone today, should be broadcasted, should be given to the people who are your neighbors, your friends, any companion who are having this problem. You bring them to a corrective center and bring them a corrective measure and bring them to a specialist so that they will not feel shy and they come out of this. And we are very thankful to all of you, and I wish you all the very best, and I hope you have a good day and the future to come. May Nagaland be prosperous in everything that we do, and I hope that education excels in every dimension. Thank you very much.